David Griffin, welcome back to some TV talk. We're here on a Monday. We're going to be here on Mondays for the foreseeable future. We had to make some time changes and some day changes, as is life with jobs, and this isn't our full-time job. I mean, if we could talk TV 12 hours a day and get paid for it, we probably would.
That would be the life.
We would probably just watch TV with people. Like, we just turn on the TV and we would just watch TV and we would just like hang out with the chat all day. I mean, like, if somebody paid me, $5,000 a week to do that, I would do it.
I'd sign up in a second. Yes, please.
Have you ever
Sadly, they don't. Sadly,
they don't. We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
We tried to make a go of it several years ago. We all tried to make a go of it, but other thing, life happens. It happens. It's okay. Life happens. Yeah.
Poor leadership and bad decisions, and here we are. What are you gonna say?
Shots fired.
David. Speaking of what were we talking about? Oh man, watching TV.
Decisions, bad leadership.
Bad leadership, poor decisions, people watching TV, hanging out with the chat.
Yes.
Oh, $5,000 a week. I was watching this thing and this woman comes up and she says to her husband, she's like, would you punch me in the face for $1 billion? He's like, for $1 billion? Yeah, I'd punch you in the face for $1 billion. You know what $1 billion is?
Yes.
$1 billion.
Yes. And then the person's asking me to do it. Yeah. And they're giving me permission to do it. Yes.
Yes. Anyway. Good to see everybody in chat. Been a long time. Hi, Kate Van D. Hi, MKS Songbird, Rick Morris, Jeremy Miller. Good to see you, peoples. All the good peoples. The pinned tweet or the pinned chat is there. That's the Streamlabs help support the show. And you can do super chats here on YouTube. So I appreciate anything that you all put in to help support the show. So does David, I think. David, do you support the show?
I do support the show, and I appreciate everybody who's here listening, watching, supporting the show. Love you all. Thank you for being here. This is why we do it. It's just fun to talk. I just love. You always see my eyes over here. I'm just looking at the comment section. I love everybody going back and forth and just having a good conversation about TV. It's fun.
And I will say, us going every other week, it gives us more time to watch more TV. Really, it's really what it is, right? Because
especially that Sunday to Monday and Tuesday, because there's so many shows that drop on Sunday that when like Monday comes around, I'm just like,
we got to catch up.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. Especially with the HBO shows. I mean, Curb has been killing it this year. I have my own opinions on the regime. We'll get to that.
The regime. I like the regime. Yes.
The regime.
Yes.
But I mean, there's just been so much going on. Jeremy Miller asking a very sensitive question, David, before we get into actual TV talk. How do I feel about Russell Wilson?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I was going to ask you, I forgot to text you about it, but Josh, my first question is he worse than Pickett? And then Kenny, I mean, let's just say for 1 year, for one season that you have him, is he worse? Are you worse off? That's my question to you. What do you think? I don't think you're worse. I don't think you're worse off.
We're worse. I don't think we're worse. No. I don't know if you're
going to be going to the Super Bowl, but you're not worse.
It's not a marked improvement, is what I'm saying. Maybe Russell Wilson 5 years ago, I'd be like, oh, let's go. But in that time, we found out that he's like a crazy trash human. He is maybe he's like completely devoid of all feelings for other teammates, and he's really not that good at football anymore. So, I mean, the funniest thing is when before Russell Wilson, we were plus 7,500 to win the Super Bowl. After Russell Wilson, we were plus 7,500 to win the Super Bowl. It's the same odds. We didn't improve. You didn't improve.
You didn't get worse, but you didn't improve. Yeah.
No. It's like your wife divorces you and marries your twin brother.
I feel like you guys, I don't know what your cap situation is. I feel like you guys should have made a play. And I know he's not the answer, but I'd rather have Baker Mayfield. Baker had a little fire last season. Agreed. He was playing okay. Agreed. I think Baker would have been better than Russell. I don't know.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And then your Bills got Trubisky, which he's not going to be the backup. He's not going to be the backup to Josh Allen. You guys can do better than him in a backup. We've seen that.
I was really hoping, Josh, that we would have gotten Gardner Minshew, but he left. Gardner signed with somebody else. I know he's not cheap, and I think we're just trying to save cap space, but I was hoping for Gardner for a backup because, I mean, Josh, thankfully we haven't had to use one yet.
Yeah.
Knock on some wood, but
he plays at a pace that is scary. Josh Allen.
It's scary. Yeah, it is scary. Yeah, he is prone to injury if something were to. Yeah, I hope not, though. I hope not. Not gonna.
Me too.
Yes.
The Hunt for Gollum. Thank you for the super chat. Very kind. Coming from a Broncos fan. Good luck. Just be glad it's only a 1-year contract. Thank you, Hunt, for Gollum. Yes, we did get him for very, very cheap because the Broncos are just paying his salary. I mean,
Yes.
if you can do nothing and still make $38 million, you made some right choices in your life.
I mean, good for Russell for getting all that money and not having to really work for it. Good for him. Yeah, I mean, hey, it's business. Yeah.
A lot of free agent signings today. Jonathan Peck, the one signing to Christian Wilkins to the Raiders. Wilkins, sorry. The Dolphins got absolutely pillaged today. They have to pay Tyreek all that money that they owe. Tyreek seems to have all these off the field issues every year, so I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Keep your dick in your pants, Tyreek. My God, Jesus. John McKay, could be worse. Josh, the Steelers could have paid Cousins for 4 years, like another joke franchise. Now, here's the thing. I don't mind Kirk Cousins. Now, I know he just had he tore his Achilles, which is not doesn't really bode well for a mobility in your quarterback, right? But when Kirk Cousins is healthy, he's pretty damn effective. However, he is in that middle tier of quarterback of okay, we're going to get to the first round of the playoffs. I don't know how much further we go. Kind of quarterback. Yeah, he needs a really good team around him. Yes. He would be great. I mean, I know they have a younger version. They don't need him. Yeah. But if he just happened, let's say Kirk Cousins just happened to be on the current form of the 49ers, he'd be great. Cousins would be great in the 49ers, I think. Agreed. He just needs a good team around him. Yeah. John McKay, 180 mil for 4 years at 36 is not again. Good for him. Wild that he keeps getting paid so much money. Even my God, I mean, jeez. Yeah. B-Hal 26 making a solid point. Shogun. Talk Shogun. Stop talking football. Yes, Shogun is out, but we want to first hit some news beats first. If we can do that. A little bit of news. Shogun, which is awesome. I'm telling you what, David. Now I know, in today's world, doing accents from other countries very offensive. Okay, we don't do that anymore. Yeah. But let me tell you something. Okay. From Shogun to Tokyo Vice, that's the only shows I've really been watching for the last week. I'm watching so much Shogun. It's impossible for me not to be a Shogun. It's impossible. Okay, I'm just to say this straight up. Okay, the Japanese people, they might be the greatest acting culture without using emotion in their face at all. Yeah, the voices are awesome. They're incredible. And they're all, I think is when I'm watching Tokyo Vice, and maybe it's because I don't speak enough We're going to talk about Tokyo Vice later. Spoiler. I don't speak enough Japanese. I don't speak any Japanese. I just know one word. But I watch them I don't think there's a bad actor on the show, Tokyo Vice or Shogun. I'm they're all good. There's no one that's I'm oh, that guy's, but maybe if I knew more about the language, I'd be he's not delivering as long, but everybody's good. Everybody. Top to bottom. Sometimes you watch, I don't know, a European show or even a Latin show. And you're I can tell that's not my favorite actor. Yeah, Shogun and Tokyo Vice. Holy shit. And I'm not, another spoiler, going to talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender. I started watching that. And speaking of some performances, they're a little, okay. Some of that line delivery, it's oh man, it's just, but you watch Shogun, Tokyo Vice, no bad line delivery as far as anyway, let's get into it. Folks, last night, it's TV. It's on TV on ABC. It's on television. The Oscars aired. Josh, I want to say I've not done this in a very long time. I'm not saying this to brag. I have seen all 10 of the Best Picture nominations. I made it through. My wife and I last night watched. The last one we needed to see was Anatomy of a Fall. Okay. I think very good film. I said it and Amanda was like, I think that the German woman who was in both of those films, an incredible Sandra Hüller, I think is how you say her name. I'm probably butchering her name, but Hüller. But I personally think that she looks very much like the German, a meaner German version of Carey Mulligan. I think they look very much alike. They're very every time they showed Carey Mulligan and they showed that woman, I was it could be Carey Mulligan's sister a little bit, but from Germany. She's the German Carey Mulligan, yeah. German Carey Mulligan. Well, Josh, of all the movies, I know you're not going to watch all of them. Of all the 10 that I watched, the one I know that piqued your interest, we talked about it weeks ago, was Zone of Interest. Zone of Interest, I still think you should check out. Another, again, Sandra Hüller is in that. She plays the commandant's wife. Hedwig, she is fantastic. It's a very good movie, very different World War II
film. Definitely worth checking out, though. So of all those movies that you haven't seen yet, I would say Zone of Interest. I mean, I loved Oppenheimer, but Zone of Interest might be right there. I really like Zone of Interest. Very interesting movie. My only big surprise last night, Josh. First, I want to say I thought the Oscars was pretty good. It was one of the best. I thought it was good. I mean, it's never good. It's never going to be must-see TV. Okay. But with the Ken performance, you had a few surprises.
The Ken performance was awesome. It was awesome.
It was great, right? It was great. Slash shows up out of nowhere. I was like, that's Slash.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. I thought. I mean, it's always going to be too long. There's all of that, but I was entertained by it. Yes. I was pretty. I think because I had seen all the movies, or not all of them, but the Best Picture movies, I was more invested in it, so that helps. But I enjoyed it.
I'm gonna tell you. So we didn't watch it live, obviously. It starts at 4 p.m. here, which is prime Rosie going full ham time, right? Like she's on it around 4.
Yeah.
We've been doing these like nature walks where she just like collects sticks and anyway.
That's Miles. Same.
But I will say the best way to watch the Oscars, David, is with the fast forward button, because I fast forwarded about 80% of the show, and it was still like an hour worth of my time. Okay. Now, I think the best acceptance speech was by far the woman from Holdovers, Davine, I think
she was fantastic. Yeah, and you saw that, Josh, right? You watched that one.
I love the
It's a great movie, right? Yeah,
great. Yes,
really good.
And Paul Giamatti was fantastic. Now, I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet. I've seen Killers of the Flower Moon. I do want to see Zone of Interest. I also want to see Past Lives. That one looks interesting to me.
Yeah. That's the one you should check out with Amanda. I watched that with Michelle. Yeah, it's a good one.
I started to watch Poor Things. Is that the one with Emma Stone? Poor Things?
Yes, I watched that a couple nights ago. That movie is weird.
As soon as I saw that it was directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, I turned it off. I didn't know that he directed that movie. David, I'm telling you, Amanda and I watched the first 10 minutes, and we both did this to each other.
It's similar. Michelle was taking a nap right next to me on the couch, so she would wake up periodically. She's like, "What are you watching?"
Yeah, no.
Of course, it'd always be in the middle of like some type of body part in full. It's just I was like, this movie. Emma was fantastic. That was the big upset of the night. Lily has won every award you can think of. I thought Lily was going to win. I don't know anything about Josh. You probably know more than I do. I don't know anything about Oscar campaigning, how that works. I didn't realize that. So this is what I read real quick. Lily in Killers of the Flower Moon was only on screen for 56 minutes of a 3.5-hour film, whereas Leo was on screen for like an hour and 50 minutes.
Wow.
So it was really hard for her, I guess, in terms of the voting to win. If she would have gone in at Best Supporting, but the crazy thing, she won everything. She was winning, BAFTAs and SAG and the Golden Globes. I was like, Lily's got to win it, but yeah, she did. So
I always think that like and I hope this doesn't come across as insensitive, but a lot of those award shows are going to vote for the woman that's never won. Like a Native American woman has never won.
That's what I thought. I'm like, oh, she's got to get. She has this. Yeah.
But I think the Academy always, pivots when the other like moves and shakes, whatever. They always go the opposite way, kind of a situation, right? And I mean, the way that you see, listen, I watched Killers of the Flower Moon. Lily Gladstone was great. I don't think that her act, like it was like that, like tour de force of an acting performance. But from what I can tell, just by the trailer, what Emma Stone had to do as an actress was probably way more impressive. It's about acting. I don't care what color you are, what it is. Like, if you put on a performance that like changes the game, you deserve the Oscar. Okay. Yeah. And Lily Gladstone was awesome. She's awesome in everything that she's done. Like those kids in Res Dogs are better acting performances than Lily Gladstone's is, I think.
Okay.
Right. And what she did in Killers of the Flower Moon was pretty much what they asked of her. You know what I mean? And Emma Stone to play like a Frankenstein-like human.
Emma was great. I mean, Poor Things is weird. I'd never need to see it again, but Emma was fantastic. I mean, she had to do a lot in that movie, and she is the lead. She's like in almost every scene. I mean, it's all her. So
it's a tour de force.
I definitely get it. I get it. Yeah.
But I think that everybody just figured she would win because, of the reasons that I mentioned before. That's what the entire collective consciousness was saying is like no Native American has ever won it. They're going to give it to her. It's like a a parting kind of Oscar, and then it didn't happen. Not to take anything away from what Lily Gladstone did. I thought her performance, like that was the only thing I really liked in that movie, was her.
Yeah, because Leo's playing kind of a doofus. He's not obviously a horrible character. Not a horrible. His character is a bad human.
Bad guy.
Leo's great, but yeah, I thought Lily was like the one redoming thing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But I think the most awkward thing on the planet, I'm telling you right now, please don't ever bring out other actors to then compliment other actors on their. That was so cringe. It was so cringe because guess what? It was forced. It felt so forced. Like Nicolas Cage talking about another actor.
But he's not friend. Like some of them probably had genuine friendships, but a lot of them, I'm like, wait, how does this person even know that? Besides, they met at a party one time. I wasn't buying it. I agree with that.
And Jerry Miller saying the same thing. What the fuck was Al Pacino doing? He's like, my card says Oppenheimer.
One thing I love that though. Is he is at the age where he just does not care anymore. Like he's like, I'm one of the GOATs. I'm one of the best of all time. My legacy is cemented. I'm gonna come up here. I don't care what the other 10 films. I'm just gonna read off Oppenheimer. I'm out. Like that's it.
He comes out with like orthopedic shoes, a tuxedo that hasn't been fit since like 1990.
His tie isn't even all all the way up. It's like
he looked like he had like one of the napkins at like a steak restaurant, like tucked in his shirt. Like, I gotta go present an award. Wait, I gotta sign the check. It says here I got the short ribs, but I actually got the Salisbury steak. Sir, just say we know how it works. And the winner and the Oscar goes to Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer doesn't even know what to do. Dude, it reminded me of this wedding I went to a while back for my cousin. And we talk about it in my family all the time. They had this old pastor from their church. His name was Father Rich. He had this thick Boston accent, right? And he was like high pitched. And he was kind of like, these kids these days with their kisses and the hugs and, doing all the things. Marriage is like what? And he just started rambling on. He's like, all right, Quinn, Anthony, I want you to kiss already. It's over. And I was like, what? That's how you end the wedding? That's how you're going to end it? You may kiss the bride. The Oscar goes to. It's real fucking simple. It's real simple.
Yeah, they probably should have had, I know they had Spielberg for directing. They probably should have had Spielberg at the end. Like if you're going to bring, like, I know Al's one of the GOATs, but bring somebody who can handle it. I think Spielberg would have done a better job there. But,
agreed, man. Agreed.
Anybody, probably.
Anybody. For best actor, bring Al Pacino. For best picture, what the are you guys doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Yes, the John Cena bit, Jerry Miller coming out. Very funny. I like that. John McKay, it was supposed to be Cher and Nick Cage to do best picture, but awards producers called a last minute audible. First of all, where did you hear that?
Cher and Nick Cage. That's an interesting pairing.
Moonstruck?
Oh yeah. Did Cher one?
Was it like an anniversary of that? Darren Wright Finstock would have done a better job. I don't think so, Darren Wright. I'm gonna have to.
Cher has 2 Oscars.
Yeah, she does. Yeah,
wow.
One for Moonstruck and the other one for The Elephant Man, right?
Good for Cher. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I didn't know that.
All
right. Well, Oscar Josh, again, I was entertained. We watched the whole thing. Granted, the whole thing, when I mean whole thing, we had on in the background making dinner, Miles going around crazy, but we watched it. I like the musical performances.
Did you?
I enjoyed some of the music performances were good. I liked Billie Eilish. I like Billie Eilish. I'm not going to go see her in concert, but I like her. I like her. She has like a whisper kind of sing. I don't know how to describe.
Who was the girl? Who was the really? I mean, I'll be straight up. I said it to a man. Who was the really hot girl with the boobs? Who was that?
I don't know. Eilish's song was the only one that I knew. I didn't know anybody
besides
else.
Ken. Besides Ryan.
Oh, Ken. Sorry, Ken. Sorry, Ken. That was it. I just knew the Barbie songs. That's it.
My goodness, that she was on, and Amanda was like, "Calm down." I was like, that's like Salma Hayek, just singing. Like her outfit was insane. I mean, you're in prime time. Families are watching that. I'm not trying to be all conservative, like I'm some religious leader, but holy moly. And I asked Amanda, like, Billie Eilish is on her way to an EGOT because she's got a Grammy, she's got 2 Oscars. I'd imagine eventually
she's not even 30 yet. It's not even 30 yet. It's crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, in all the spirit of togetherness and happiness, what a great relationship to have with your brother, that you can write music together and be that successful and have a good. Seems like she has a good relationship with her brother and her parents, like, because she dresses like she's like this punk kind of, but then you see her family story and it's like, no, it seems like she has like a pretty good family. Like they're really supportive. That's good. Awesome. Yeah. Good.
No, I mean, and I know that like there's people that deserve to be recognized all the time, but I hate to just cut out every award that nobody cares about and make it 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like
I was happy about the Godzilla people. They seem very happy.
Yeah.
The Godzilla folks seem very happy.
I agree, David. It's fine. Okay. But you're on TV for 4 hours. And by the way, like they just castrate Jimmy Kimmel. Like half of his jokes were so bad. They were just bad jokes up top. Like he had no leeway to make fun of anybody. They were.
Yeah, it was a little weird going into like Robert Downey about his addiction. Like I know we all know about that. It's very well documented, but it felt because even Robert was kind of like, okay, keep cranking. I mean, he took it well, but it was just it felt. It's like, why are we picking on Downey Jr.? Like, of all the people there, why are you picking on Downey? Yeah.
Glad he got an Oscar, too. Love RDJ.
Yeah.
You know, Marvel Cinematic Universe wouldn't be anything without him.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. The costume people, VFX, like, congratulations. Have your own Oscar awards where all the people that hire you for jobs are in attendance. And they're like, oh, my God. Because once you win it, like, once you do all this stuff and you're well known in the town, you're going to work forever.
Yeah.
The only people watching that know anything about anything are the people that are in middle America that haven't seen like half of these movies. And then they're watching, they're like, ooh, Carey Mulligan. Ooh, Ryan Gosling. They don't know who 2 hours. And just make it 2 hours. Do a couple of song and dance numbers, some funny jokes, award, song, award, be done. Done. It's done.
Yeah.
It's done.
I think the problem too, Josh, with the host, all the interesting hosts that could do it don't want to do it.
No.
Like they always ask Chris Rock to come back, and he's like, "I'm not doing that," especially after getting slapped. But also, he's like, every time I say something, you get all upset and angry. Like I can't say anything. You know, it's all I don't know. Yeah. I think all the good hosts don't want to do it.
Jonathan Peck, I will say The Boy and the Heron beat Spider-Verse 2 for best animated.
Yeah.
Film surprised me. Maybe something to do behind the scenes troubles of making across the Spider-Verse. I think the animation branch might think differently. I'll say this. The Academy hates superhero movies, and a sequel to a Spider-Man movie, the animation was cool. I think I mean, I don't like.
I really enjoyed it, but it's hard to go. Josh, the guy who did The Boy and the Herons, Miyazaki, who's one of the all-time legends in animation. So the fact that he won isn't really surprising. It was very well received, great reviews. But I agree, Spider-Man visually is just incredible. I love Spider-Man.
Oh man, you make a solid point. I'm not saying anything against it.
Yeah.
You're appealing to a very, very, very different audience than the people that like Spider-Verse, which is why the Oscars mean legitimately nothing because the fans aren't making the choice. It's a bunch of very stuck-up people that go into this academy. It's like the Soho House. It's a very stuffy country club of people being like, well, my favorite film is a French film from 1947 that was only seen by 11 people. It was called Voulez-vous, Allez-vous, and it was about a baguette that made its way through a river, and it was silent, but it was perfect. Like that's the Academy. That's the Academy. So you're not gonna. A movie called The Boy and the Heron. Like, give me 6 titles from an animated film, and I could have just picked the winner by the title. The Boy and the Heron, done. It's the easy one. It's like, oh, it's probably like, you know, it's a very heartfelt tour where the boy's family dies and the heron raises him, and like they have a special relationship. I mean, you could writing an Oscar movie is not that hard. You just have to have the right money behind it. It isn't. You got to make it super controversial. You got to either make it about World War II or look at the movies that got nominated, David. World War II, Nazis. Like
I get it. Yeah.
Right, here's the formula, David. Here's the formula. Super controversial, super weird, a star, a couple of minor stars, maybe one major motion picture, something that like pushes the needle in either feminism, diversity, male squashing, okay, or like racial divide, or World War II, okay, and then make it long, and make it like very, very, very hard to watch. Boom, you get an Oscar. But you have to have the right production company behind it, you have the right campaign behind it, and you have to have the right star to really get this done. Really,
you got a campaign.
It's not hard. It's not hard. Yes.
Josh and I will start working on our Oscar film right after this.
You just have to get it to the right people that campaign the right way. Really. And they have to have the right star, like at the right moment. You know, like timing. Christopher Nolan doing like a Nazi guy who falls in love with like the black woman in the concentration camp that may also, he's gay. and then boom, you've got an Oscar movie. It's real simple. I'm telling you right now. It's not. It has to be super controversial and like change the game. David, it was a garden next to Auschwitz. It's a fucking Oscar movie. Easy.
It's a good movie. It's good. You got to watch that one, Josh. That's one of my favorites. It's a good one.
Am I offending you? I hope I'm not offending.
No, not offending me. No, I'm not a film. I mean, I like all things. I like a lot of different movies. I don't just like the Oscar ones. But this is the one year where I watched all of them. I was very proud of myself because I have not done that in a very long time.
I'm proud of you, David.
I was very proud of myself.
I'm proud of you.
But I know people want to talk about TV. There's more TV. So let's quick Game of Thrones news that came out weeks ago. But David Zaslav, the head of the Warner Brothers Discovery massive conglomerate, came out and delivered some Game of Thrones news. We know that House of the Dragon season 2 is dropping sometime in June. Don't know. Yeah. I don't think it's been exactly confirmed when, but June. It's coming out in June.
The same weekend as Bad Boys 4, David, because I think they wrap principal photography. It comes out June 7th.
It'd be a good weekend. Okay. Bad Boys and Game of Thrones. House of the Dragon. I'm down for that. And then we also got an update on The Hedge Knight, which is a spinoff of the Game of Thrones series, which takes place, I think, about 100 years before the events of Game of Thrones. And that is coming out in sometime in 2025. So more Game of Thrones is coming. We got 2024, House of Dragon, 2025. The Hedge Knight is coming. So I think it's called the Knight, a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is the story. So I'm excited about that. That's pretty cool. More Game of Thrones on the way.
Just have a Game of Thrones show every weekend. Like, okay, we go from House of Dragon to Hedge Knight to like, Janie and the Swords. I don't care. Just give me a Game of Thrones show all year long. It can be different series and different times. Hell, just make a Game of Thrones streaming service. Sign me up for it. I'm in. I can't wait for season 2 of House of the Dragon. I understand it's very expensive, and I want to see, more dragons, and I want to see, and that's like making those dragons look realistic is tough. But
and you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to go full CW on it with like the CW version. You don't want too much. You're right. It's like too much of a good thing.
Leave me wanting more. You're right.
Also, too, again, a few weeks ago, the news came out. We are getting a True Detective season 5.
Ooh.
I believe her name is it's Issa Lopez. Hope I'm saying that correctly. The same showrunner who did season 4 is coming back. I don't think we talked about the finale. I don't want to go too into it. I know it's been a long time. I wasn't the biggest fan of the finale, but I liked a lot of this year. It was one episode I didn't care for. I liked most of the series, though, this season.
Out of 10, what are you giving the ending?
Oh, out of 10, the ending? Like a 5 or 6.
I was going to say 4, maybe 3.
Yeah, it just threw me off. I didn't like how they wrapped everything up, the explanation, but I liked the journey to it. I enjoyed the journey. I enjoyed the season. Just the finale.
Yeah. I want what I want out of True Detective is to get back to something gritty. Here's what I liked about season 4. Okay. And what I didn't like about season 2 is like in LA. I don't want LA. I want like a shithole town in middle America, right? Like season 1. I want something dark and creepy, but I don't want supernatural because I love the dark and creepy nature of Alaska because awesome. Always night. I mean, come on, like a genius place to put it. I don't need like the supernatural that they never explain. Like that's just that we're supposed to believe in a supernatural. That's not True Detective. Which is kind of why I like season 3 because it was more like small town murder and like figuring it out, right? Like they got back to like the roots of True Detective. Listen, I'm not saying make like a derivation of season 1 every year. I'm just saying like, and it doesn't always have to be like a sex crime with a kid. What I want is just like a very. Do you ever see the movie Prisoners with Hugh Jackman?
Yeah, that's Denis Villeneuve, I believe. That's one
that
of his movies. Yeah,
awesome, David. Yeah. That movie is so criminally underrated. That movie's so good. Like I want more True Detective of like that kind of feel. Like put it in West Virginia or Idaho or like Mississippi, states that like we don't think about ever. Kansas, Indiana, like places like that where you're like, I mean, it's a flyover state. I hate to insult it like that. It's a bit of a flyover state, but I want to see like the grittiness, like like a farmer gets killed and it's like, why is he getting? I don't know, just like something that has like a little more grit to it, which is what I thought Alaska was going to kind of be, because Alaska, I mean, dude, that's the in wilderness. Man.
Yeah, you can't get much more wilderness than that. I'd be curious to see next season if she's going to do 2 female leads again, as the 2 detectives, or maybe a male and a female, or 2 male. I'll be curious to see how she casts. I mean, that's one of my favorite things about True Detective is no matter how good or bad it is, the casts are always top notch. So I'm just excited to see who they're going to cast for next season, but that's probably going to be a couple years out. But
Leo said, like, who would you cast in the next season? A high profile actor or actress duo. I think that Jodie Foster was and Navarro, what's the actor? Callie Reese. I mean, they were both just fantastic. I would like to see something from an actor that we haven't seen in a minute. That has had an awesome career that maybe deserves something like this. Like, I would venture to say something like a Brendan Fraser would be kind of cool.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
Right?
Okay, I could see that. Yep.
Or like on the female side, like I don't somebody like a Laura Dern, but not Laura Dern.
I know you're talking about. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's been around for a while, experienced, veteran. Yeah.
And then like one of these young up and coming actresses that deserves some kind of like a serious thing. Maybe somebody like a I don't know, the one Barbie, America Ferrera.
Yeah, America. Yeah. She's having a moment right now. Yeah, she's having a moment. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, BHAL 26, great call. Love to see Walton Goggins in A True Detective. That's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah,
because he always plays a villain.
Speaking of which, we got over the last couple of weeks. I'm sure a lot of you saw. I didn't put in the notes, Josh, but there was a new trailer for Fallout. Oh, and the date it was changed. I think it was supposed to be the 12th of April. Now it's going to come out on the 11th. So that's exciting. Got a new trailer. So if you want to see more of Walton Goggins in that role, he looks fantastic. So awesome. Yeah, that's one of the shows I'm anticipating. Fallout coming out in April. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see what they do next time for that. Another David Zaslav. I think they had like an investors meeting or one of those earnings reports, something like that. That's why all this HBO Warner Brothers news was coming out. Yeah. But also on top of that, we also got Harry Potter update. Harry Potter TV series 2026.
Whoa!
Which again, I'm a Harry Potter fan, so any excuse to have more Harry Potter on screen. I hope it's good. Hope it's done well. Hope they take their time. But it seems like they are. It's not coming out for another 2 years, so I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with that.
Solskjaer, if Reeves isn't says Carla Gugino, I like Carla Gugino. Tim Robbins would actually be pretty solid in A True Detective, I think.
Yep.
Darren Wright, I think he means Murder at the End of the World. The girl who was in Only Murders in the Room. I don't know. Was there a show called Only Murders in the Room?
Only Murders in the Building, maybe that's what he thinks.
Oh, Only Murders, man. We just started. Amanda watched that one with Mandy Patinkin and Violet Bean. Murders are details. Details are in the murders.
Oh,
murders in the
is it any good?
No, she hated it. Amanda watched it. She was like,
check that out.
Doing this now. So the whole original cast is coming back for the Harry Potter series, correct? Rupert Grint and Hermione Granger and Harry Potter. Is that correct?
No, I don't think so. Have they? No casting for the Harry Potter TV series has been announced to date, but WBTV has said it will feature an all-new cast from the films. Daniel Radcliffe, who portrayed the boy who lived in a Warner Bros. Movies, he said he's definitely not seeking it out in any way as far as premiering the show. So Daniel's not trying to be a part of that. So no, probably not.
Gotcha.
No.
Refism, we'll get to Gentlemen. I see.
We're getting there. What's time? Sorry. All right. So, we got time. After the next bit of news is Avatar: The Last Airbender, highly successful debut on Netflix.
I got to
getting renewed for seasons 2 and 3.
Whoa, 2 and 3 already? Should I watch this, David? Should I watch this?
No. And not because not because I think it's awful. I watched a few episodes. It captures the spirit of the original series. It's fine. But I'm starting to watch. And I'm like, I'm just rewatching one of the greatest animated series of all time. I mean, it's a lot better than the Shyamalan version. But I talked about some of those characters and some of those readings of the lines and some of the performances, especially the kids. It's just a little. I don't know. Maybe I'm judging too harshly, and people call me out in the comments. I'm getting old, so I think I'm watching a lot more, shows like Shogun and Tokyo Vice and Regime. And I feel like when I came back to Avatar, maybe I wasn't in that headspace, and I start watching. I'm like, this show is geared towards a younger audience. I should recognize that. And I love the animated series, but it's just, it's fine. I think it's solid. I would give it, if I was still at IGN, I would give it a good old 7, which is good. I think it's good. It didn't blow me away. I wouldn't say, Josh, stop what you're doing and watch it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jeremy Miller, Avatar would not be up your alley. Josh, thank you.
Yeah. Someone said John McKay said Avatar live action is, I assume he meant more adult. It is definitely more adult. Like there is a scene in the first episode where someone gets burned alive. Like it is more adult, but it's not Game of Thrones burned alive. But I mean, it's PG-13. Okay. Yeah, for sure. It's PG-13. Right, so that's true.
So I gotta tell you the story. So I was at the driving range on Saturday. Okay.
Yes.
And you know me, I talk to everybody. It's kind of like it can be an issue sometimes to manage. Like you have to talk to everybody. Anyway, so the Harvard golf team was in town. They were playing. Ooh. There's like a tournament this week. It's Stanford. It's like Stanford, Harvard, a couple other schools, whatever. But they were down here to play some of our courses down here. And I was talking to their coach, and then I like talked to some of their players because one of their players I recognized from the U.S. Amateur who, when it was at Oakmont in Pittsburgh, I went to that U.S. Amateur with my cousin. We followed the guy. And anyway, so we were talking to him, and I noticed this one kid had like a bag tag on his bag that was like an anime character, right? And I said to the kid, I was like, do you think the biggest difference between your generation and my generation is that you guys watch anime and we didn't?
Yeah, sorry. I was like, it's talking about anime.
David knows what's coming.
No, I want to hear his response. What was his response?
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it just seems like your generation hates anime. And I was like, yeah, like, I don't know. It really wasn't our speed, my guy. Like, it really wasn't. He's like, yeah, like we still watch a lot of anime. Like on our road trips, like, well, we watch anime. And I was like, oh man. And the coach, and I look at the coach, and he was probably like, coach is like in his mid-50s, and he looked at me and he just went. It was awesome, man. It was.
I mean, it is crazy how. I don't want to say anime's big. Anime's been big for a while, but it is. Sure. I mean, it's been big around, but it is crazy how I would say a generation after us is into it, like, which is cool. Like it was cool. I saw the and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name, but the creator, I believe, of Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Past, I believe, is only like 68 years old, I think. And I saw all the outpouring of affection and for him online. It was really impressive. Again, I don't know that show, I don't know that world, but it was really cool to see all that. But to be fair to Avatar, Josh, Avatar is not anime. It's animation. It is American. It's American. It's an American show. Got it. So if you do, but people do have a good point, Josh. If you are going to get into Avatar, maybe check out the first episode. There are some good actors. You have Daniel Day Kim in there. I love Daniel Day Kim. I think just for me, again, somebody said that we need more time in life to watch more TV. I think I'm just watching so many shows. Again, this is not my job anymore. And I think
we just love TV. That's the problem.
Like, and watching Avatar, I was like, I think I'd rather spend my time watching something else than this, even though it's not bad. It's not a bad show at all.
I mean, that's the thing is like we've aged out of certain TVs, and that happens in the world, right? It's, like my mom and dad always complain that there aren't enough shows for them. And I was like, no, there are. Mm-hmm. You guys just like have chosen to kind of age yourself out of shows like Tokyo Vice and, like you would love Shogun, but my parents, the hard part for a lot of this, and what really, really sucks about like the streaming nature of the world is that they eliminated a lot of good television from mass audiences by taking it off cable, because my parents aren't going to sign in and get like 9 different streaming services. They're just not going to do that. And so they don't get to see shows. Like they don't want to get Apple. It's like they're already paying for cable because they like live sports and they like to watch their procedurals and their network TVs and their soap operas and all that kind of stuff. And instead, like we've taken a lot of these really good shows, and my parents have Netflix and I think they've got Amazon, so they'll watch the shows that are on there. But for the most part, they miss like shows on Hulu, and they miss shows on Apple TV, and they miss shows on Paramount Plus and AMC and all these like that are very good shows. But you take away like when somebody like my parents say like there's not enough show, like there's not a lot of shows for us. I'm like, there is, but they've made them almost impossible to get to without really searching them out or somebody telling you. Like you rarely are you ever going to stumble on a show anymore. And that's
and I think we're getting to a place. It seems like we have hit peak TV.
Yeah.
And I think the amount of shows that was produced last year, it's reported they're thinking it's probably going to go down a little bit. It's not going to be as high because we're hitting peak. Studios are cutting their budgets. They're watching their budgets after the strike. That's changing, I think. And eventually there's going to be, people talk about it in the chat. There's going to be other studios buying other studios. There's going to be 100%. Mergers and more conglomerates coming together. And it's going to be less and less because we haven't really, if you think about it, when was that last nobody had, no water cooler anymore. But when was that show that just stopped the internet? It was probably Game of Thrones. I don't think we've really had that since then, where like you would stay offline, you would stay off Twitter, you would stay off Facebook because you were so terrified of getting spoiled. There's not, now it's like everybody's watching a show like, hey, are you watching Tokyo Vice? No, but I'm watching Abbott Elementary. Now we watch Tokyo Vice and Abbott Elementary, but everybody's got their own little corner. Like there's not that. I mean, Shogun's big, but Shogun's not Big Bang Theory big. Not that that's a great show. Big Bang Theory doing like 20 million back in the day. Shogun, I think, did like 10 or 11, which is huge for FX. That's massive. But it's not. I don't know. It's not what it used to. I was, Josh, random little rant. I was looking up old ratings. Now, this is back in the day in the 80s, early 90s. Star Trek: The Next Generation used to get like 13 million a week. Whoa. 13 million. That's TNG. TNG, again, not the biggest show of all time. But even back then, 13 million. It's crazy numbers. Crazy. But I know times have changed. It's changed.
Jeremy Miller and Diz saying closest thing, I think, is The Bear or Succession. Yeah, Succession did push the needle, but it wasn't Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is like a once-in-a-generation show, man. Like,
I don't know if we'll have that. Well, maybe we'll. It might be a while.
Early Walking Dead was like a really big deal.
Huge.
Really big. And then, I mean, there isn't a show in history. You can't tell me a show in history that it had a more precipitous fall-off than The Walking Dead. It's a
huge fan base. Yeah.
I will say this. I don't know if you, I mean, when we were at Collider, the season before Negan and the couple seasons before Negan, our live shows and our reviews of every episode averaged around 100,000+ views. Okay? Yeah. And we were getting somewhere in the range of like, I don't know, maybe 5,000 to 8,000 people watching live, something like that. Like they were big numbers. Okay. The season after they like messed with us and didn't kill Glenn, and then they killed Glenn in the premiere, right? Those reviews were getting like 18,000 hits. That's an 80% drop off of a fan base. I have never seen anything like that in television before or since.
Yeah, I dropped off after, I think it was the Negan. Was it season 6? That's when I dropped off. Yeah. Doing the towel. Last thing, we don't need to touch this long. I know some people mentioned Foundation. It's one of my favorite shows, sci-fi show. It's weird. I still couldn't explain it to you, Jess. I don't know what it's about. There's some drama going on. They switch showrunners. I'm gonna get his name, David Goyer, who co-wrote, Batman Begins. He's one of Christopher Nolan's not anymore, but he used to collaborate with him. He was a showrunner. Because there's some drama with budgeting going on in the new season 3 they're filming now. So he's no longer the showrunner. He's stepping back. He's still a producer, but he's not doing as much as he used to do. So there's some drama going on with the new season of Foundation, folks that are waiting for it. We'll see when it comes out, but there's a little behind the scenes drama going on, but nothing big again. Nothing big there.
I mean, we can talk, since we've already just started kind of talking about
The
Walking Dead. Jerry Miller says, like, what are you guys feeling about The Ones Who Live? So I did finally watch the Daryl Dixon. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. That's the only spinoff that I'd watch until The Ones Who Live. And I don't know, man. I'll finish The Ones Who Live, but I think that's the end of it for me for Walking Dead. Like I just don't care about this world anymore. I'm over it.
Same. I actually enjoyed The Ones Who Live maybe a little bit more than the Daryl one, even though I like the Daryl one because it was in France. And they actually filmed in France. It felt very different, very, just other than being in Atlanta for 11 years. But The Ones Who Lived, I enjoyed. I love the chemistry between, Rick and Michonne. But I like you, Josh, since I left after season 6 of The Walking Dead, I've been out of that world for so long.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I didn't even know where Rick's daughter was. I was like, where is she? I had to go on Wikipedia and I'm like, oh, she's still in Alexandria, I think that's where she is. That's where Rick's daughter is. But I had no idea where Rick's daughter was. It'd been so long. I'm like, what happened to her? But I didn't know Rick was blown up on a bridge, but then he's okay. I missed all that. I didn't know anything about that stuff.
We used to talk about it when we would golf, right? My give a shit meter really starts running out around like hole 14 and 15. Like it's hard. Golf is just a long
18 holes is hard. Yeah, it is.
You're talking about a guy who could play golf all day long. Like if you said, hey Josh, you're playing 72 holes of golf today, awesome. But like it is tiring. It's long, right?
Mm-hmm.
My give a shit meter on Walking Dead is just so over. Like I'm so tired of the plot line being the exact same. Okay. It's villainous people that I don't give a shit about. And the likable people always trying to get somewhere. Like I really wish that it would have been like, hey, there's these hordes of zombies and we got to figure this out. And we got to do this and we got to do this. And there's just a better way about it. Like David, where are they getting fuel to power helicopters? Do you know how you can't manufacture jet fuel without like a serious production plant?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know where the helicopters are. I don't know what time we're in. I don't know how much time has passed. I'm lost in terms of where. I don't even know. Are they in Philly? Are they in Philadelphia?
Philadelphia.
It's Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do like those weapons that make the sound though. They're like the
that's cool.
Football.
Yeah,
that's what cool. I was trying to explain it to somebody. I was like, it's sort of like they're throwing vortex football missiles.
Yeah, it goes. And the good thing I do like about these shows, Josh, the Daryl Dixon and The Ones Who Lived, only 6 episodes. So
only 6 episodes.
They're bite-sized, not a huge commitment. So at least they're short. At least only 6 episodes.
Jonathan Peck, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you all for supporting the show. It really means a lot. Let me read this. The only thing ratings wise got close what Game of Thrones got ratings wise in a popular culture moment was in 2000s when the first season of Survivor with its season finale got the same ratings as the Game of Thrones finale.
Wow.
Seriously, look it up. That's crazy. I mean, Survivor first season. Here's the thing. That reality show boom of the early 2000s to like mid 2000s, Survivor, the American Idol, what was the other one that was huge at that same time?
Isn't that like when The Bachelor started back in the day?
Yes,
early 2000s.
Thank you. Yeah. So like those 3 shows like totally pushed the needle into a world where then like they were like, hey, we're gonna do a reality show about a family that lives with a raccoon. And you're like, I think we're getting to the point where we're done too much reality show. And then it sort of course corrected. I mean, the Real Housewives have like kept their own thing, and like things like Bravo has its own weird fan base.
And now with Netflix, it's Love Is Blind, and that's the hot one now. And
after the first season of that one, I was like, I can't watch this show anymore. Like I don't have enough time for trash. I really don't. And it's really hard. It's just hard. It's one more hour of your day. It really is. It's one more hour of the day. And then Josh, there are better shows to watch. I guess we should just talk about it right now. Let's get into Shogun. Shogun. There was so much hype. They released reviews like 3 weeks before the show came out, which is always usually a good sign. It means the studio believes in it. Yep. And it's like, it's a masterpiece. It's the best thing since Game of Thrones. I'm like, oh, okay, let's see. And then it comes out. I'm like, this is really good. We've seen, there's been 3 episodes, right? The first week was 2 episodes, 2 episode premiere, and then 3. So we've seen 3. Yeah. 3.
I'm digging this. And I love how, it sounds stupid, silly to say, but I love how Japanese it is.
Oh my God.
For a mainstream show like this. I know we have Tokyo Vice, but I feel like Shogun's even more popular because of the ratings than Tokyo Vice.
Vice takes place in Tokyo.
It takes place in Tokyo. I know, but it didn't have that much Japanese. Like there's so many. It's mostly subtitles.
Mostly subtitles.
A lot of subtitles, which you just don't think about for mainstream American. So I love it.
I haven't been this hyped for a show in a while. Yeah. So when I was getting a little nervous, and then the pilot was awesome. And then the second episode, I think the show for me, it sold me on one line in the second episode. Sold me, I can't wait, is when he draws the world in the sand. Remember? In like the rock garden? And he's like, I've been trying to do his accent, like, the people. Like he's got like a grovelly, and he speaks like very staccato.
It's like Tom Hardy. He reminds me a little of Tom Hardy, a little bit.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Very Tom Hardy like. And he's like, this part belongs to the Portuguese, and this part belongs to us. And he's like, and the Japanese guy is like, did you say belongs? Like, they don't know. They have no idea that they're saying across the world that we own Japan. Yeah. And if you know anything about the Japanese, my dad worked as an executive in Japan for a long time. It's like, they are a very proud people. And nobody owns Japan but the Japanese. It's why like Americans don't go over there often and like start businesses or really like ingratiate in the community. We look different. We are different. We are not welcome to be. It's like that's Japanese. Okay. When he says belong, and then it like flipped, and I was like, oh, let's go. Like now I see where this show is going. I was like, the exposition of it is all like setting up these trade routes and the Portuguese and the Catholics and the Protestants, like all that kind of stuff. I was like, okay, all right. I see where this is sort of, and then I was like, oh, yeah.
And you get the Game of Thrones comparisons because there's houses,
Yes.
families that are all vying for this one seat that everybody want, or they want control of the son who's too young to rule. Yeah. They want to control whoever controls him controls the power, kind of a thing. And it's good. Like I can see where the Game of Thrones parts, and I love that there's action, but we haven't gotten all the way there yet. There's been some fight sequences, but they space it out. It's not all the time. Like I love when they unsheathe the swords. I mean, it looks so good. It's so good.
That the scene, I think it's in it's in the pilot for sure. It's in the first episode when he falls down into the water, right? And he's looking like, the proud thing, and and you see him basically about to commit suicide because he's
gonna fall on his sword. Yeah,
right. That scene was talk about such a simple scene that really like defines the action going forward in a certain sense with those two characters, because now they have a bond that
and you can see his whole perception of the Japanese culture. He doesn't know anything about it really, but you can see he's like, wow, this dude is going down there to risk his life, and then he's just going to kill himself. Like he's just it's just I love the religious stuff is really cool too, about the Protestants and the Catholics, and
because you know it's theology.
I got my master's in theology, but I don't use it anymore, folks. I don't use it. I just talk about. I write stuff I do stuff for Amazon Prime, so just doing TV now, which is fine. But when I get that kind of sparks that old college brain of mine, and I just love. I didn't know much about it. Scorsese did a film years ago with Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver that loosely it touched on the early parts of Christians going over there trying to spread the gospel, and they were getting persecuted. But in this point in time, they're well established. At least the Portuguese are well established, and they're pushing their influence on there. So it's it's really.
When they talked in this last episode about like getting a church where it is, because what you don't realize, and what they don't like really hit on per se, they don't come say outright, and why they want a church there is for the money.
Yeah, all money.
It's not to like spread the religion. It's like setting up McDonald's franchises. Is every church that they have over there, and more people they can recruit in the church, the more money that they get to send back to as part of these like trade routes, right?
Yes.
And as a kid that grew up very, very Catholic, obviously have my issues with religion these days, but man, I don't know. I love this show, and I love the direction they're going. I love all the acting. The woman who plays his confidant, basically, who is the wife of the guy, of the soldier, and no spoilers, yada yada yada.
He's a dick, not a nice guy.
Or
he seems like he is. I need to give him maybe he turns around. It doesn't seem like a nice guy.
My husband is a great warrior, but
he's not a nice guy. He could be a little more sensitive. Could ask me about my day. Doesn't ask me about my day. Doesn't ask me. Nope.
Josh Howard, thank you for the super chat. It seems like they only greenlit the first season to finish the book. Do you think they'll add another season to capitalize on the success? I bet this show goes 5 to 6 seasons.
Ooh, the only thing is, so that's a great question. Josh, I saw an article where they talked about that, and they said it's probably unlikely that we're going to get a season 2. But Josh, like you said, never say never. But I think the showrunners were interviewed recently, and they said it's unlikely, but doesn't mean it won't. Obviously, if FX sees this is a hit, they'd be like, do you guys have another story? Can you keep this going?
Because this is so good. It would be silly to not have. Did my internet just go out? You there, David? David? Hello? Is it? Am I the only one talking? Did David freeze for everybody too? Am I the only one still talking? Somebody help me out in chat. David froze. David froze. All right, let me take. Dang it. All right. Well, it's just me. Thank you for the help, but I understand that. Like, if they don't do a season 2, I think that is a huge miss. Like, I think it's a gigantic miss. I would love to see a season 2 of Shogun, because it's awesome. It's just awesome. I don't know. There's something magical about, because I feel like we always see, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like, I feel like we always see in that time frame, we always see like knights and like, the 1600s is like medieval Europe and Renaissance. We rarely see the Far East at that time. And I think that's like that's the great new era for television that we can explore and things like that, because the stories to be told over there are just awesome. I know David froze. I took him off, I thought. All right. I'm going to move on and start talking a little bit about some of the shows that I am also watching. I don't know what Regime is. Can somebody say, like, why am I watching Regime? The pilot couldn't have been less entertaining. Am I wrong? Somebody tell me that I'm wrong about Regime. I haven't watched the second episode, so it could be better. David just texted me he's trying to get back on. Somebody just like in chat, just tell me, am I wrong about Regime? Is it good? Is anybody watching Regime? I mean, I can. Kate Winslet is fine. She's good. She's got like this little side lisp. There he is. He's back, baby.
That was me. Something.
I thought my internet.
I think the Griffin family internet went down for a spell there.
It's all good.
Are you still talking Shogun? It's very good. Very good show.
I want to wrap up Shogun. We only have 3 minutes left.
That's it. Okay.
But like I said, it would be a shame if we didn't have more seasons of Shogun, because I flipping love this show.
Oh, Josh, I know before we leave, were you talking about the Regime?
Yeah. David, I don't think I've disliked the pilot more than Regime.
Really? Okay. I thought Kate was good.
The only good thing, I don't know what, I think I need to, I'm going to finish this first season. I will, because it's Kate Winslet, it's HBO, something has to happen. I think it's like there's only one scene in the pilot that I liked, and it was when the guy's talking about I left my family, and I just it's that they're sitting at that dinner, and he's just so nonchalantly being like, oh no, I had a wife and child and I left them for her. She forced me into it, basically.
Yeah, it's bad.
So funny, just so funny.
And did you watch The Gentleman?
I watched the pilot, the first episode.
I feel like I'm like, this show is for Josh. Yeah, I mean, if you've seen one Guy Ritchie film, then you've seen The Gentleman. It's all his usual things that he does. But I thought it was good. I liked it. Ugly, drugs, all that kind of stuff. It's great. I keep losing my mic. Sorry about that. Mic is all over the place. Yes.
I don't know what I'm getting into, but I'm in.
Yeah.
I like the Gentleman movie. I like that movie a lot. Yeah,
I dig it. Josh, also Masters of the Air. We're getting the finale. I believe is this week is going to be the last episode 9. I think it's just 9. It's only 9. Yeah, only 9. But great show. We got to see the Red Tails. Finally got to see the Tuskegee Airmen, which is really cool, and them all coming together. I love this show. I think Apple's also doing. There's going to be a documentary that comes out maybe the week after or something. And it's a documentary about the 100th Air Division. So we're going to get to see, I don't know if any of those guys are alive, but I'm sure there's some footage they have, archival footage where they're going to talk more about that whole group. So that's exciting.
No, 10 out of 10 on Masters of Air. Hard 10. It's just
Friday. So MK Songbird, it's Friday. It's this Friday too. Cool. It's coming out the same day. Great.
The bloody 100th companion doc for the Masters of Air releasing on Friday. That's great. Okay, cool. What else we got? You want to talk?
I actually need to check out Full Swing yet. It's on my list. This was the one show this week I haven't watched. I'm like, I'm going to watch it. I can't wait, but I haven't gotten a chance to see it.
Listen, it's golf TV, so I'm going to be overly positive about it. Okay. Yes. But I didn't love the first season of Full Swing. I thought it kind of bounced all over the place. It didn't like the linear nature of it. It was a little strange, but if season 1 to me was like a 5 or 6, this is like a hard 9. Like I thought what they didn't do well in season 1, they did way better in season 2. And I think, man, I like reliving that friggin' Ryder Cup in documentary form was still equally.
I forgot. Yeah, that's going to be fun to see. Okay. All right. I'm excited. I'll try to watch an episode tonight.
Highly recommend.
Great.
And we can end on Tokyo Vice, I guess, because you told me to watch that show. Before I'm out on Gangs of London. There's too many storylines. I liked it. It never grabbed me hard enough to be like, hey, this is your show.
It's the one weakness. It's like the story isn't as strong. I think the action set pieces are so awesome, so good. But the story doesn't quite. Yeah, I agree.
Wasn't my favorite. And then, but Tokyo Vice. Now, in spite of Ansel Elgort's acting, okay, because I love him in Baby Driver. Don't get me wrong. Like,
love Baby Driver. Yeah,
him in Baby Driver is awesome. There were just like, there's so many scenes where he's just like, like he's tossing his hair around. He's like, oh no, like, oh, Ken, oh no, like, oh, I can't believe, oh, I gotta go. Like he's just such a tall goofball, right? And some of these, he's like, I just can't believe they would do that. Like it's some bad acting at points, but all the Japanese actors bring it full. I mean, Ken Watanabe, fuck, the guy's
a man. He's a man.
And
yeah.
Rachel, is it Heller or Keller? Rachel Heller,
something like that. Yeah. She was in Legion. I think Legion was the first thing I remember seeing her in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She is fantastic.
Yeah,
just awesome.
And the guy Sato, I don't know the actor's name. Sato's great. Love Sato.
Shit.
Yeah.
I mean, put that dude in like every movie.
Yeah.
Holy moly. But in spite of the Elgorting, as I've been calling it, Amanda's like, so I'll be like watching it at night, right, on my phone. I'll be watching it, and I'll like start giggling a little bit. And she's like, I thought it was like a very serious Japanese drama. I was like, oh no, it is. I'm laughing at Ansel Elgort. Like he's just like kind of like always like bopping around with his backpack, like, oh no. Oh, they killed another Yakuza, dude. I'm like, oh, fucking Elgort.
He's really playing up the whole American of it all. He's like, I'm not supposed to be here. You know, I'm an outsider. Yeah. It's pretty funny.
No, I love the show. I mean, the Yakuza, the main mobster that Sato works for. No spoilers, but man, I love that dude.
I like it. He's like the honorable guy. Yes. He's like even the police respect him. Like he's a gangster doing crime, but he has honor. Like he's an honorable gangster. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I like him. Yeah, great show.
Yeah,
I'm glad you started watching it. I really am.
Yeah. I think like the next show for me, I'm gonna get back into Slow Horses. I think
it's good, man. It's really good. And if you're saying it's a little slow, season 3 is like all action, crazy action, which is unlike it. But it's one of my favorite shows on right now. Cool. Can't say enough good things about Slow Horses.
Dang. Okay. Well, that's TV talk for your Monday here. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Before we leave, David, what's your
Oh, I almost forgot it. I had it written down here. Let me just make sure. It is something. Oh, yes, Manhunt. I have seen a few episodes already. Manhunt comes out on Apple TV Plus. I believe it's Friday.
Who is in Manhunt?
Manhunt, Crosby. Crosby is John Wilkes Booth. Crosby
from John Wilkes Booth.
The John Wilkes Booth. So it's about the assassination, of course, of Abraham Lincoln and the manhunt that transpires after that. And if you've been watching Masters of the Air, you know who I'm talking about. Crosby. Crosby is John Wilkes Booth. Yes. I can say he's very good. It's such a different character from Crosby's like the old shucks kind of guy in Masters of the Air who turns into this really good leader. But John Wilkes Booth is just cocky and arrogant, as you can imagine. But he does it well. It's believable. He's got this, mustache that curls. So at first I'm like, who is that guy? And I saw when I was IMDb, I'm like, oh, it's Crosby. We got Crosby in it. Yeah, he's great.
Dang. Okay.
So check that out.
No, pumped about that. All right. My pick of the pipe. I'm going to be ingesting golf all week, David. Players Championship, the 5th major starts this week. Live from the Masters, they are live from the Players. Mm-hmm. This really starts golf season into the summer. Everyone's like, golf TV. It gets me. It gets me in all the feels. They're going to have some of the mini docs. They're going to show old players, all that kind of stuff. So in with the players and with that, go watch Full Swing. If you've never watched any golf TV, watch Full Swing. It is a great introduction to golf. It's a great introduction to the golfers and how golf works. You don't really even have to watch season 1 to get to season 2. You could just watch season 2. That's sort of like how golf works. Highly recommend. Some very heartwarming parts. And that's why my pick of the week.
Yeah.
That's it for me, Josh Macuga, David Griffin. Go watch some TV and be nice to one another. Be kind, find the good, text somebody, call somebody, tell them you love them. It matters. Choose positivity, all that good stuff. And as always, put down the book. Pick up the remote. Unless you pick up a magazine. I don't know.
I heard there was a good cameo in Abbott Elementary. I won't spoil it. I think I did see who it was.